Hey there, story seekers. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell you want to miss the journeys we take through time, place, and memory. Today we're stepping into a pivotal moment in American history, not on a battlefield, not with muskets blazing, but in a quiet room in Philadelphia, where 13 colonies came together for the very first time as something more than just distant neighbors under a distant king. This is the story of the First Continental Congress, and how a gathering of lawyers, merchants, planters, and thinkers lit the slow-burning fuse of revolution. So grab your tricorn hat, pour yourself a cup of tea, or maybe skip the tea. Today more on that in a bit. And let's travel back to 1774. By the summer of 1774, tensions between Great Britain and its American colonies had reached a boiling point. The British Parliament, still smarting from the financial toll of the French and Indian War, had passed a series of laws meant to assert control and recoup costs. But to the colonists, these weren't just taxes, they were violations of their rights as Englishmen. The final straw came in response to the Boston Tea Party of December 1773. When colonists disguised as Mohawk Indians dumped 342 chests of British tea into Boston Harbor to protest the Tea Act. In retaliation, Parliament passed what the colonists called the Intolerable Acts, a set of punitive measures designed to punish Massachusetts and make an example of Boston. These acts closed the port of Boston, altered the colony's charter, allowed royal officials to be tried in England, and permitted the quartering of British troops in private homes. Colonists across the 13 colonies watched in alarm. If Britain could strip Massachusetts of its rights, what was stopping them from doing the same to Virginia, New York, or South Carolina? In Virginia, fiery orator Patrick Henry declared, "The distinctions between Virginians, Pennsylvanians, New Yorkers, and New Englanders are no more. I am not a Virginian, but an American." That sentiment began to echo across colonial newspapers and town halls. And so, in May 1774, the Virginia House of Burgesses proposed a bold idea, a Continental Congress, a meeting of delegates from all the colonies to coordinate a unified response. Though the royal governor dissolved the assembly, the Patriots simply reconvened at the Raleigh Tavern in Williamsburg and issued a call for representatives to gather in Philadelphia that September. Philadelphia, then the largest city in the colonies and a hub of commerce, culture, and ideas, was the natural choice. It sat roughly in the middle of the coastal colonies, accessible by road and sea, and was known for its relative openness and intellectual spirit. On September 5, 1774, 56 delegates from 12 colonies Georgia abstained, fearing Native American threats and economic dependence on Britain, assembled in Carpenter Esalab, modest two-story brick building nestled in the heart of Philadelphia. The hall belonged to the Carpenters' Company, a guild of builders, and though humble, it offered privacy and neutrality important for men who were, in many cases, strangers to one another. Among them were some of the most remarkable minds of the age. From Massachusetts came the Adams cousins, John, a sharp-tongued lawyer with a deep belief in justice, and Samuel, a master organizer of resistance. Pennsylvania sent Joseph Galloway, a moderate who still hoped for reconciliation. New York contributed James Duane and John Jay, both cautious but principled. And from Virginia arrived George Washington, already a respected military figure, along with Peyton Randolph, who would be elected president of the Congress. For nearly 2 months, these men debated, negotiated, and drafted resolutions. They were not yet calling for independence. That idea was still too radical for most. Instead, they sought to defend their rights while remaining loyal subjects of King George III. Their first major act was the adoption of the *** Declaration of Rights and Grievances ***, which asserted that colonists possessed the same rights as English citizens, including the right to life, liberty, property, and trial by jury, and that only their own elected representatives could tax them. They also condemned the Intolerable Acts as unconstitutional and oppressive, but words alone wouldn't suffice. The Congress also agreed on a powerful economic weapon, the *** Continental Association ***, This was a unified boycott of British goods. Colonies would stop importing British products starting December 1st, 1774. And if Parliament didn't repeal the Intolerable Acts by September 1775, they would halt all exports to Britain as well. Local committees would be formed to enforce the boycott, a move that effectively created a shadow government across the colonies. This was revolutionary in more ways than one. For the first time, ordinary citizens were empowered to monitor their neighbors' behavior, turning political resistance into a community effort. Women joined the cause by spinning their own cloth homespun instead of buying British textiles. Merchants canceled orders. Farmers pledged not to grow tobacco for export. The colonies were beginning to act as one body. Not everyone agreed on the path forward. Joseph Galloway proposed a plan of union that would create an American parliament to handle colonial affairs, subordinate to the British crown but with real power. It was a compromise aimed at preserving the empire while granting self-governance. But after heated debate, it was narrowly rejected. The mood was shifting away from reconciliation and toward collective action. On October 26, after weeks of deliberation, the First Continental Congress adjourned. They agreed to meet again in May 1775 if their grievances remained unaddressed. As they left Carpenter's Hall, few could have imagined that within 8 months, shots would be fired at Lexington and Concord, and the Second Continental Congress would be managing a war. Yet the legacy of that first gathering was profound. It transformed scattered protests into a coordinated movement. It gave the colonies a shared voice, a common cause, and a framework for unity. More than that, it planted the seeds of American identity, not as subjects of a distant king, but as people bound by shared principles and mutual defense. Carpenter's Hall still stands today in Philadelphia, nestled among modern buildings but preserved as a testament to that quiet revolution of ideas. Step inside, and you can almost hear the murmur of debate, the scratch of quills on parchment, the weight of decisions that would change the world. And there you have it, the story of the First Continental Congress, a meeting born of crisis, fueled by courage, and guided by the belief that people deserve a say in their own lives. It wasn't flashy. There were no cannons, no declarations of independence, just thoughtful men in waistcoats trying to find a way forward in uncertain times. But sometimes, the most powerful revolutions begin not with a bang, but with a conversation. If you enjoyed this journey into America's past, give this video a thumbs up, share it with a fellow history lover, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories from the places that shaped our world. Until next time, keep wondering, keep exploring, and remember, history isn't just dates and names, it's us. Thanks for watching.